always looked after me, brother. When we were children, you always had my back. You took all the blame when our father caught us doing things that drove him mad. Through the years I could lean on you when I messed up. I'd call you in the night, but I broke too many promises and we split up. Though I still need ya, you gotta save me now. I'm slipping so far down, it's only you I trust to set me free from this. I don't know how I got into this awful spot. I don't know where it ends, so I could use your helping hand tonight. I wanna say that I'm sorry, I got sidetracked and I left you in the cold. I've seen your side of the story, I felt the drawback. My mistake took its toll. Finally, I have realized I was dead wrong. I wasn't thinking straight. No more lies, and from here on out I'll be better, 'cause I still need ya. You gotta save me now. I'm slipping so far down, it's only you I trust to set me free from this. I don't know how I got into this awful spot. I don't know where it ends, so I could use your helping hand tonight. I could use your helping hand tonight. I could use your helping hand tonight.
From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Bearded BP, 100 interviews. All it takes is 2 mics and 1 line. This is Bearded Villains podcast worldwide. Driving cross countries, getting ball tires. Fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, cause BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it and that another could. Never underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro, lights, camera, action. Action, action, action. Let's go. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart. It's the heart.
The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the Bearded Villains Worldwide Brotherhood and the lives they are changing all over the world. Tonight, guys, we are on episode 118. 118. Wow, we're slowly kicking up there to 120. Guys, would you believe it? We are already 3/4 of the way through January already of 2022. I don't know what kind of time travel, time warp device that we are in, but every time I turn my head, it cracks me up because I realize that, I mean, you just turn your head for a second and next thing you know, you've lost 30 days, you've lost a month. It's kind of a crazy thing that's happening, but that's the way life is. I don't know. Maybe as you get older, in retrospect, you look back on things. I mean, maybe that's the way it is. The older you get, the faster time flies. I don't know. I definitely think that I've noticed that more the older I get. Back when you're in your 20s, you have so much time ahead of you. You think so. You know, there's no amount of time in front of you that you think about. When you are in your 30s, same kind of thing, but you start to worry about your 40s and you get into your 50s and you come near your 50s, and that's about the time when you start to realize how short life can be. And at least that is for me. My 40s have been a big time of retrospection, of retrospect. Is that the right word? Looking back, anyway. You do, and it's a whole different ballgame. Thank you guys for being here so much. I could not be here without. Well, I could probably be here without you, but it'd be a lot more boring. This is episode 118, guys, and we are here for part 1 of 2, asking the question: how do we move forward? Kind of being us, doing our thing that we want to do so much, doing all the charity and the brotherhood stuff. In this, we thought it was post-COVID, but not post-COVID. COVID rearing its ugly head back again, and in this time that we're in right now, and with restrictions bouncing all over the place, how do we do what we still want to do? And so this is part 1 of 2, where we're going to ask those questions. And then part 2, we're going to come back with hopefully a whole bunch of different solutions and suggestions that we can continue on with. But that's the way we're gonna mark that. So thank you guys so much, everybody, for being here. If this is your first time here, I am BP, the host of The Heart of a Villain. And just so you know, if for future reference, if you ever need any kind of merch items or anything like that, or you want to look for the other episodes, the other 117 episodes of this podcast, this is where you go, theheartofavillain.simplecast.com, or to your standard podcast platform out there for listening purposes. Well, guys, thanks so much. I want to already, because we've had a few people come in with, just on some of the things that I've already said, that I want to make sure I acknowledge. And it's one of those weird things, you know. I was just talking a few seconds ago about time and how it changes things. Dennis, thank you, Dennis, for being here. He says the older we get, we appreciate time in a whole different way. So true, Dennis. So true. We look back and we realize, you know, I still remember there was a time when I realized very vividly in my early 40s when I said, oh my gosh, I am now older than my dad was back at X time. And it's funny when you realize, when you get to that point of looking back on your life and you realize that when you were 8 or you were 10 years older or something like that, around that time, when you have these very, very vivid memories, and you know that these memories are just so deeply ingrained in your head. And back then, your parents, your in my case, your dad, he seemed old. That was dad. That was old. He seemed old. But then in retrospect, now look back and say, I'm actually older now than my dad was at that point in my life. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Dennis, yeah, absolutely, Dennis. Time is precious for sure. Rababa, a year represents less of a fraction of your life as you age, so it seems to move faster. Got to put on the brakes occasionally and look around. Yeah, absolutely. There have been a few movie quotes that talk about that. Ferris Bueller Ferris Bueller had a very, very famous quote about you got to stop and look around. So yeah, it's a change. It's a change. So you definitely need to think about that kind of thing. As I look around, I'm looking more at comments here. Puzzle Man, yes, I'm trying a new lens tonight. If you're here live watching on YouTube or Facebook, I'm using a different lens, and I've pushed the camera back a little bit. So in correlation to the actual camera, I look size-wise about the same, but with this lens now in the background and everything like that, it looks a little bit different. So thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. I look 4K-ish. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, guys. So yeah, this is it, man. This is 118, and we're gonna ask some of those questions. We're gonna talk, and I'm gonna be depending on those of you who are here live during this live stream to talk a little bit about some of the hurdles and some of the challenges that we face. We are a worldwide brotherhood, after all, and everybody has different perspectives, different opinions of what this brotherhood means to them. And in truth, there are people that are not in it so much for the charity aspect, but they're here for primarily the brotherhood. They want to get something out of the brotherhood for themselves, and that's great. But some of those same struggles that the people that are in it for the charitable reasons, some of those same struggles are there for the people that are in it for the brotherhood reasons, because of the various different blocks that are in our way right now due to the ongoing COVID situations. So, yeah, absolutely. Continuing on our message here, that I have a feeling we're going to get off on a little bit of a tangent here about time and looking back in retrospection, but we've got to bring it up when we can, right? Life is what happens to us while making other plans. Alan Sanders. That's also a quote that's attributed very, very commonly to, I believe, to John Lennon. Life is what happens when you're making other plans. You often hear that, but it's so good. It's so good to look back. And really, I think doing that actually makes you appreciate life that much more. It's really important for us to look back, because it makes you recognize how precious, as Dennis said, how precious that time is. And it makes you appreciate those moments so much more. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys for being here. Again, I'm going to scroll right in. Feel free to continue your conversation there. I'm going to try to keep up with it as best I can. If anybody has any more great one-liners for us to chat about, or comments in regards to that, or anything else that we're going through, I'll be sure to make sure I try to bring them up as we go. But as you know, one of the first things I like to try and do is get out some notifications about merch that's out there, because everybody out there loves the merch. They love the patches. They love the T-shirts. We've got some events coming up. People wanted there's merch out there available for. Keeping in mind that even if you don't go to XYZ event, you can still support that event by buying the shirt, because then the proceeds of that shirt or patch or whatever it is will still go to the charitable cause that chapter is aiming for. So that's definitely something to think about. Well, let's get into some of this merch here. And some of this is old, some of it is brand new. So I'll fly through some of the stuff we've heard of a little bit before. Just wanted to lead off with my chapters patch. It went live last week, and it's been awesome. The response has been really cool. I got one here in my hot little hand. It's our new and improved patch. Thing is awesome. The definition on it is crazy cool. And it's only $12 at bvnorthernindiana.bigcartel.com. The first handful or several people that ordered those patches, that went out this week. So everybody should be getting, if you live close to Indiana, you should be getting them in the next day or two. Everybody else within the next several days, for sure, if you've already placed your order. So thank you guys so much for that. And then also the New York Upstate, we already talked about this. The New York Upstate chapter has their hoodie And they also have a patch that kind of goes along with this. So hit those guys up. The hoodies range from $33 to $35. Absolutely. They also, don't forget, they did have, I don't know if this is still on pre-sale or not. If you're interested in a hoodie, those of you in the snow areas, we've got snow going on outside. We're under a 2-day winter storm. Get your hoodies, $21, three different choices. I don't know if they're still out there, but check them out. BV, New York, Upstate. .bigcartel.com for sure. Yes. Yes, Larry, you're right. Insert shameless plug here. That's right. Insert the shameless plug. I need to do that. Well, Rob brings up a good point. We need to create a contact point for U.S. only merch to get in the UK. By UK, I mean me. Yes, absolutely, Rob. You know that you've reached out to me before. I know. I will say this, that other chapters have different things going on. There's different requirements for their stores. As far as my here in Indiana, Northern Indiana, with BV Northern Indiana, if you have a group of guys, we did have 20 some patches going to one country that were shipped out this week because we worked out a bulk order for them, and we worked out a bulk order shipping arrangement. So that is possible. So by all means, if you're interested in doing something like that, for sure. So let's get back to some more merch here. Going forward, BV Alberta, newly refined logo. They had these patches out there for $12 Canadian, $14 elsewhere. Again, we've talked about this. These things are pretty bold looking. They're really cool. PayPal, reach out to them, bvalberta@yahoo.com. All right. As you know, Nash Vegas comes up in March, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Tennessee. And they're doing something kind of cool this year, so I'm making a mention of it here. They are doing a weekend stay at a very fancy hotel, the Sheraton Grand Nashville downtown. So they're doing a raffle for 2 free nights at the hotel. If you are interested and you are going to Nash Vegas, for $5 is all that you need to pay for the entry fee for this to be entered. And I believe you can enter more than once, $5 a piece, of course, each time you do it. So, but hey, if you're going to go to Nashville and you want to live in high class, reach out to them and see what you can do, because that'd be pretty cool. If you get that, especially if you reach out and you pay for 2 or 3 tickets for $15, you get a 2-night stay at a really nice hotel. So that's available, where they also have merch available for the Nash Vegas event at 3starvillains.bigcartel.com, 3starvillains.bigcartel.com. And then more to that point, they have this Nash Vegas 6 t-shirt, which is on pre-order. It ends January 31st. So you've got 11 more days, and pretty cool logo they got set up for this thing. $15 to $20, I'm sure, depending on your size. Not if they like you or not, of course. The Nash Vegas 6 shirt available at that same location over there at 3starvillains.bigcartel.com. Also, don't forget, if you want to help out the boys, or you're planning on attending, North Texas is hosting the LSV5. LSV5. Those T-shirts are in pre-sale as well. They are going through to the 28th of this month. So you've got 18 more days to get on this one. This one's a little bit later in the year. Actually, no, it's not. It's actually in February. So they are pushing it. They are really pushing it, getting these shirts ready. So good on them for doing it. But the LSV5 pre-sale, shirt pre-sale, very cool stuff. $20 for these shirts. Again, with the LSV5 logo on the front. The back also says "Come Hell or High Water." So good stuff. Good stuff to see. Also, we don't forget about our other chapters outside the U.S. Bearded Villains Wales. I don't know if you've seen this on Instagram or not, but they are hosting the Bearded Villains Welsh chapter is hosting Beardiff 2022. They have really cool names for things over there. Beardiff 2022. There's a ticket bundle that they have set up, which includes your ticket, a T-shirt, a limited edition patch, drink voucher, all that stuff for 30 pounds. 30 pounds. They also have a ticket only option if you want to, but that's like 15. So get the good stuff with it there. 30 pounds. And I think that's how you would pronounce their dollar, but I believe so. 30 is what you want to go for there. And then last but not least, I want to give a shout out Miami doing their thing that they always do, dropping some hot merch. They have a t-shirt and a hat combination. I think you can buy them together, but even if you can't, get the t-shirt, get the hat, really cool Villains logo on it, spelled out. $22 and up for the t-shirts, and the hats are $25. They're available at bv305-shop.myshopify.com. And that's the merch I've got so far, guys. Really cool stuff out there. If I did miss your chapter, if you've got some stuff going on, you're raising some money for an event or for some charitable cause, by all means, reach out to me and let me know, and I will try my darndest to remember to get it on here. When I get sent messages, I usually screenshot that stuff right away so that I put it in a file on my phone so that I don't forget about it for the next episode and make sure I get it on. So definitely something to think about. So that's the merch I've got so far, guys. Everybody, let's do a round of applause for all of the merch out there, right? I was looking for my round of applause. There it is. There we go. Round of applause for all the good merch out there. Congratulations to everybody with their merch. All right. So what do we want to talk about next? Well, let's scroll back and make sure that I'm not missing anything in the comments. And all right. So I've got a comment on here. I normally answer these questions off air, but I will make sure I'm going to bring this up because he's taken the time to ask a question when some people wouldn't normally do this. Aaron, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks for watching. He says, hey, man, I'm in Baltimore, and I've got no clue how to get involved with the Villains, but this club looks amazing, and I'm wondering what you would recommend I do. Thanks. So, Aaron, what I would recommend you do, because Maryland has a few different chapters, I would recommend you reach out on Instagram to one of the chapters that you can find in Maryland. They do have a few. I want to say they have the Chesapeake Bay might be the best one for you to reach out to on Instagram. But any of the Maryland chapters could point you in the right direction, and just reach out to them and ask directly to your local chapter. That's the best way to do that. So to make sure that you can find a home and reach out and find out what we're all about, man. If you have any other questions, go out to the Bearded Villains website. Directly out to the Bearded Villains website. You'll see the mission statement. You'll see all that good stuff, and they can set you straight there. Also, Puzzle Man points out on the BV site is their map. That's right. Of course there is. That would just make too much sense, right? That would make too much sense. He says they will show you the closest chapter to you. Yes, absolutely. Puzzle Man would know because he has been integral. He's helped out so many times with getting chapters off the ground. He has been truly integral in helping out with other chapters get their feet wet and get off and running. So as a big shout out to you, Puzzle, all the time, man, all the time. Well, guys, let's continue on. One of the other things that I want to give a shout out to that we normally do here on the show is talk about chapter news. There's a few things that I want to give shout outs to. The first of which, well, most importantly, a big congratulations to one of our newest chapters. Welcome to the Bearded Villains Ecuador. Brand new chapter awarded this week, Ecuador. So we love to see that. Get out there and hit those boys up on Instagram. Make sure you like their page so you can stay in touch and find out what all they're doing. Bearded Villains Ecuador on Instagram. Follow all the links down there for sure. Also, I want to say we do have other chapters that are coming up. I won't say where, I won't say who, but fingers crossed we can find out about them for sure in the next few days or a few weeks even, we've got a few new chapters popping off, and fingers crossed, right? Fingers crossed. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to say is I want to say congratulations for their 6th anniversary to the Mississippi Boys. 2 chapters there, and they unfortunately had to officially cancel. They had to officially cancel their event that they were going to do last weekend. We talked about it on the previous podcast episode, but let's see. I'm going to try and while I'm doing this, folks, I'm trying to see how I can block a series of stuff that is coming up. And nope, I can't remove that from the content. I don't want that at all. I will have to go online and I have to go and see where I can get rid of that stuff. It is a troll. It is a troll in the live comment section. We'll try to see what we can do to get that removed for future reference. Anyway, guys, big shout out to Mississippi. Congratulations on the 6th anniversary. I know that they still had a gathering of sorts for those who still planned on being there last weekend. So it was great to see. I know that they raised some money and still did some stuff. So that was really cool to see. So a big shout out to the boys in Mississippi. Well, guys, one of our newest segments that we started up this year, talking about merch, or I'm sorry, not talking about merch, talking about inspiration. One of the newest things that we came up with this year was doing 3 inspiring minutes, talking about a variety of different things. And if you are there in the comments section, just go ahead and ignore that those posts that are popping in there occasionally. We'll see what we can do about getting those off in the future. But for now, I want to talk about some of the idea here with 3 inspiring minutes, kind of along the lines of what this episode is about. When we're talking about where can we go from here, what can we do, right? What can we do in this this late lingering COVID time to still do what we are about, and what we are about in our charity efforts, what we are about in continuing our brotherhood, because it is hard sometimes. It is hard sometimes. So moving on, we're talking about overcoming obstacles, and I found a couple quotes that I think we're not talking about overcoming personal demons and personal struggles. We're talking about overcoming those roadblocks that jump in your life. And so let's throw 3 minutes up on the clock and talk for a few minutes about this. 3 inspiring minutes about overcoming obstacles. I found 2 quotes that I really liked that kind of trended toward this topic. One was a quote by Jimmy Dean. I don't believe it's the Sausage Man, but he said, "I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination." Such a cool way of thinking, because there's always going to be things that jump in our path and stop us or try to stop us from doing what we planned on doing. So as we start talking about this stuff this week and next week, talking about what we can still do as villains to help the world out, help others out in charitable ways, help our brothers out through means of brotherhood and everything else. As we think about this, we need to recognize that there will be times when scheduling is gonna fall through, when weather is gonna fall through. Especially this time of year, when things out of our control will jump in our way. All we need to do is adjust those sails so that we can always reach that destination. And then I found believe it or not, of course, the greatest, a Michael Jordan quote. "Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it." That's right. too many times so many times we've heard that whole adage of adapt and overcome, right? Adapt and overcome. That's what it's about. If your heart is truly into something, if your heart is all about brotherhood and is all about charity, and if this is something that you live for, we will find a way to make it work. It may not be plan A. It may not be plan B. It may be all the way down there at plan Q, but we'll find a way to still make something work so that we can finish and get to our goals. So as this time of the year, as we start talking about, as we're talking about this, overcoming these obstacles, and how can we still be what we want to be and do the things that we want to do and change the lives in the ways that we want to do that, let's focus on the good and focus on, oh crap, this is bad, but. And one of the best ways that I think we can do that is to support our brothers in their endeavors. Last year sometime, one of our brothers made a comment and said, hey, can you imagine what would happen if every single listener to the podcast at the time he was talking about, but if everybody that saw a post, if everybody that saw a different merch item pop up, even if you didn't want to buy the merch item, if you just reached out and just donated a couple dollars or donated $1, can you imagine over the course of a month or a year how much money that would generate toward the different causes? So that's another way of thinking about it. You don't have to, I mean, you get to the point where you have, some people argue with me. Some people will not agree with me when I say this, but you can have too many shirts, right? You can have too many hats. God forbid, you can have too many patches. I know some people out there is going to disagree with me on that one. But people say, I have so much. I don't need another this, that, or the other. That's great. But don't let that stop you from helping out your brothers and your other chapters in their charity efforts. Just look at it as a donation and maybe ask them to donate their patch or that shirt to another cause or to another person that may not be able to have the wherewithal to get that item. Just a different way of thinking about it. So just keep that in mind. Absolutely. Well, I want to stop in real quick. I didn't do this earlier, and I'm sorry for not officially doing this. I want to stop in and say, hey, to everybody who is here in the live stream that I can see in the chat. Mr. XJD Moore X, thanks for being here. First one, he was the first. He beat Rababa to the book to chime in early. So he was one of the first ones in, and he actually got to see the very first slide that pops up that I changed for the live stream. If you want to get in, you'll have to be here early. The countdown timer starts about 10 minutes beforehand, so you'll have to check it out if you want to see that cool logo or that cool image. It's really not that cool. But anyway, thanks for being here. Reverend Nick, how you doing? Good to see you. Sabbath, how you doing, buddy? BVRM, of course. Things are good. Big Mike's in the house hanging out with us. Of course, we said Puzzle's here as well. Mars hanging out with us here. Good to see you. Rababa, as I mentioned before, is also here. Raven hanging out with us here tonight as well. Good to see you, Raven. Larry, Mr. Robinson, how you doing? Good to see you. Dennis, good to see you. He was already coming in with the hot sheets, man, with the quotes early, coming in early with the good talk. Joker, good to see you, Joker. How things down there? I know you're enjoying some nice weather. I can just about bet there's a 99.9% chance your weather's super awesome, even if it's rainy down there. Good to see you. Who else we got in here? I saw a few others. Aaron, of course, big shout out to you. Hope you were able to quickly reach out. Just remember that these guys, when you reach out to a chapter, when you reach out to members, these guys have lives outside of the organization. So it may take a day or two for somebody to reach back out to you, but do not lose hope for sure. And we appreciate you for reaching out. It is an awesome organization, awesome brotherhood to be a part of, for sure, as I hope you'll see. Mark, Mr. Davis, good to see you here. And I know that I saw the lovable Jess in here as well. How you doing, Jess? Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. All right, guys. Viper, what you doing? What you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Well, let's talk about this, guys. As we now have seen, we are in this COVID time still. We thought we beat it. We thought it was gone. And I don't want to get into a whole debate over the nature of COVID as in general, or whether you believe in it, or whether you believe in masks, or whether you believe in mandates, or anything like that. That's for someplace else. That's for somebody else to talk about. But as I take a drink, the very real nature that we have to deal with is the fact that we live at a time, and we are operating in a space where we have to abide by rules and standards that are set before us. And so to that end, when we want to get together, when we're trying to make plans for events, we have to still abide by those rules, those policies, those different, what we say, roadblocks that are popping up. And what I want us to do, because I think that this will spur a conversation that will not only help me out, but I'm hoping that this is going to be a conversation over the end for the next couple minutes here, and then during next week's episode, and then the whole week in between. I'm hoping that this will spur a conversation on to help us come up with maybe some new ideas, to come up with some new recommendations, just brainstorming on ways that we can help out each other, help out our own chapters, help out the charitable efforts of other places, because we don't want to stop. We all know what it was like at the very beginning of the COVID lockdowns when you couldn't do jack squat. And I mean, we had chapters that nearly dissolved. We had chapter brothers that you may not have seen for quite some time. All sorts of craziness was going on, and chapters couldn't get involved in or do anything because of a variety of different regulations and restrictions. So we've passed that point, and we've come out the other side. We still have restrictions, and we still have mandates in some areas, but we're bigger, faster, stronger, better than ever now, I think, for this. And now I think we're starting to realize that we can still do villainy, right? And to start talking in a way of the Mr. Minion, when you start talking about, villainy, we need to do villainy. Yes. That's what we're about. And it's any number of ways that we do our villainy, through sharing our brotherhood, or through helping the homeless, helping vets, helping children, helping hospitals, whatever it is that we do, in the way that we do it locally. And so what I want us to do in the coming days, and feel free in the comments section now, I want us to think about for a second. I'm going to come back in about, say 30 seconds or so. And I'm going to come back in, and we're going to talk again for a second about, starting to start that conversation about what are some of the things, maybe recommendations that some of you here live can give us, recommendations about new ways of thinking, or let's not forget that you can still do this type of a thing to help out in charity. So coming right back after this word. If you are looking for an all-natural beard oil that will not only tame your beard and coarse hairs, but make your beard soft and smell amazing, check out Pulpo Beard Oils. Veteran-owned and made for today's beards, Pulpo Beard Products combine the best beard ingredients on the market with incredible customer service to ensure your happiness. Whether you need beard wash, beard oil, beard balm, or some fun clothing, Pulpo is the place to go. Feel fresh, feel savage, feel confident with Pulpo Beard Oils. Go to Pulpo Beard Oils, that's Pulpo beardoils.com, and use the code The Heart of a Villain for a discount on your order. Okay, guys, so basically what that was all about was me masking the time so I could get a drink and not have to hear me gulping or dead air. So thanks for indulging me there. It was just a good time to play that spot. But okay, so what I want us to do is, this is going to be a very short-ended conversation right now, but next week, I want us to come back and have a bunch of recommendations for ourselves and for each other about what it is that we can do. We need to think outside the box, because there are going to be times like last weekend for Mississippi. They had been planning for some time this event. And when push came to shove, so many people, I followed the chat. So many people, it seemed like, came back from the weekend before, and it was like a bomb of COVID went off. And every day you were hearing about 5 to 10 more people that tested positive for it. And it was crazy to see. And it got to a point where you wondered, if there were going to be 10 people that could even arrive and plan for this and go to this event. So unfortunately, they had to cancel the formality part of it, the formal event part, but they still worked around it and still found a way to still have a handful of people that already had plans, and they weren't going to change those plans, and they still wanted to go into town. But that's the kind of thing that's the way of thinking that we need to do. We need to be safe, obviously. Obviously, we need to be safe. And because no matter what your thoughts are about this, about COVID itself, whether the severity of it, there are people dying from it. And unfortunately, I know personally somebody who just last week lost a battle, and he passed away from COVID. And he was full of life and full of energy just 2 weeks prior. So, it's a very real thing. And so if you are somebody who has those symptoms, or you do test positive, we need to be smart, obviously, and recognize that we don't want to go just because I haven't been to an event for some time. Don't use that as a reason to possibly, get a whole slew of other people sick. But there are still other things that you can do. You can still reach out to these chapters and say, hey, I can't be there this week, but is there something I can buy? Is there a donation I can make? Is there an auction item? If you are gifted with some sort of ability to create something, is there something I can make to donate to you? That's a very easy way. If you have skills about you, that's a very easy way that you can help out in donating your time, or donating something to the charitable cause. That's absolutely something you can do. I got to give a shout out to old Mars here live. When I said we've come out the other side, bigger, faster, stronger, all that other stuff. Mars says, I am definitely bigger, just not faster or stronger. Hey, Mars, I hear you, buddy. I hear you. I can't say that it's only COVID that made me bigger. But hey, I will say this on a side note. I'm shrinking. I am shrinking. This last week has felt really good. And so I'm doing really well right now. And as you'll notice, I'm not drinking. This is a weird one for me. I'm not drinking an adult beverage during the podcast tonight. I'm reserving that to happen only for weekends now. So no weekday drinking right now, even for a glass during of a good bourbon during the podcast. Not doing it right now. So got to get myself back into fighting shape. It's going to take a long, long time. going to take a long time. So we need to recognize that there are ways that we can still do our villainy. There's ways that we can still help out. And what I want to do, I honestly, now I say this, I've said this before too. There are times where I reach out, and I'm going to say that I'm not going to call anybody out, but I'm talking to you, those of you watching live right now, and I'm talking to those of you who are listening right now to the sound of my voice on any other podcast platform. I want you to take stock in the fact that when I ask for audience participation, that's what I'm hoping for. Because you guys know, when I started this podcast way back when, 117, now 18 episodes ago, 2 years and something, when I started this thing out, I've always said from day one, this podcast is as much yours as it is mine. And I say that because I could be here talking to myself all day long. I'll do that. And that's no problem. But the whole purpose behind this is to help out, to spread a message, to it's not for me to try to get my name out there. It's about BV. It's about our chapters worldwide. It's about the brothers that make up those chapters worldwide. And so when I reach out, I really appreciate those of you who take time to make a concerted effort to participate, to respond to messages on Instagram, Facebook, or here, to send me direct messages with suggestions. I sent out a message earlier today asking, is there a topic that you would like us to discuss, or a person you'd like me to talk to in the future upcoming episodes? And what's funny is I was thinking of tonight's episode doing it differently, but because of two of the responses that I got to that question that I sent out earlier today, I decided to go ahead and make a pivot and make this part one of a two-part series. So our brother up in Michigan, Mulaney, and I had another brother reach out as well, Mr. Spanos from down in Australia, who hopefully we'll be talking to next week. The suggestion came up about what we're going to be doing and what we can do. So that's, where it come from. So I appreciate those of you who take the time out, because I am only one person, and I can only report on or come up with things that I see, ideas that I either I have in my head, which I'm not the most creative person in the world. I mean, I got thoughts. Don't let me kid you. I got thoughts, but I'm not the most creative and the only creative person out there in the world. So there are people that you want to hear from. There are chapters you want to hear from. There are stories that you want told. And what I ask of you is to just tell me. Reach out to me. Tell me who you want to hear from. Maybe some that I'm already thinking about, some that I've tried to reach out to has not happened, different things. But don't hesitate to reach out. As I've said, this is as much yours as it is mine. And that's what it is. I want to press that message out there and share the stuff with you guys. So take the time in thought this next week and do some thinking. If you've already got thoughts, send me some messages tonight. But let's come together and think about ways that we can help each other out, ways that we can help out the brotherhood, help out different chapters. And keep in mind also that we have a bunch of people who support us. We have a bunch of people who support us. One of our biggest supporters that's not specifically BV is in the chat right now, our lovely Jess, right? She has supported BV like crazy. She has supported this podcast like crazy. We love her for everything that she does. So when we think about things, we also need to think about ways that we can include other people as well. Are there things that we can do where we can include other people that want to support us and want to support our intentions and our endeavors? We need to think about those people when we're doing this. So please keep your eyes, your ears, your thoughts open for the coming days, and hopefully we can come back next week with some really cool ideas. And as I say that, talking about what we can do when we're talking, of course, I would get a comment from Mars saying, "Can you get Jason Momoa as a guest?" I would love to find out what beard products he uses. Well, I'm not so sure I'm going to get lucky enough to get Jason Momoa on here, but heck, we can try, right? We can try, right? When you're that famous, do people even that are that famous even know what beard products they're using? Because chances are somebody else is using them for them. They just sit in a chair and somebody grooms their beard for them. They probably don't know otherwise. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. See what you started now? Jess says, I wouldn't pay attention to Jason. See? Good times, guys. Jess, we know you are. She is 100. BV 100. Thank you so much for everything that you do. So, guys, just keep these things in mind as this coming week. What are some of the things we need to think about? I can come up with some ideas that you've probably already heard of. You heard me talk about before. But like I said, I'm not the end-all, be-all when it comes to these ideas. Let's think about it. Come back. We need to come back next week with some ideas on new ways of thinking. So let's think outside the box. Let's think about some things that we can do to still, despite lockdowns, what can we future-proof, right? That's what we need to think about. Let's not be reactive. When you're thinking about plans for something, let's be proactive. Let's be proactive and future-proof our plans. If we make plans for this, that, or the other, let's future-proof it so that if something happens, if everything falls to hell, we can still find a way because we have plan Q over here. And we're going to jump on plan Q to still do what we need to do. So we need to push that. We need to think about that, guys. And I appreciate those of you who will bring this up and talk with me about this. Rob. Hey, Rob, I would love to. The problem that we have is getting the time to fit and doing it in a timely fashion. There are some that I've reached out to in the past that are Brits, as you say, that don't want to come on. So they just say, what do I have to talk about? Who am I? What do I? But it's the stories. It's the stuff. It's what we want. This is a worldwide brotherhood, and we need to talk to brothers all over the world. And that's the truth. So to that end, my plan next week is to bring on one of our brothers from Australia. We're going to talk to him. That's the plan. So, oh, Rob, I'm starting to lose my voice because I've been talking too much this episode. Rob says, BV Hangout in VR. Better yet, the Heart of a Villain podcast live in VR. Wow, that would be crazy cool and scary all at the same time. Crazy cool, but scary. And I wouldn't even want to guess at the technicalities and the requirements needed to make that happen. It's taken me a while just to make this happen on a consistent basis, what you're looking at here live. So let's think on that, guys. And hey, let's scroll right into our calendar of events. We've got a few. I do thank you guys for being here with me. I'm going to roll to our calendar of events. Let's see if we bring this thing up here. There it is. All right. Well, for some reason it didn't delete, so it's still going to have the early January items on here. But if you're listening to me, just listen to me instead. All right. So we've got January 22nd. There's a couple of things that we have on our calendar that are not specific to BV, and that's okay. The You Matter Beard and Mustache Competition presented by Honest Amish at the historic Casino Hall in LaGrange, Texas. If you're interested and you're in LaGrange, Texas, coming up January 22nd, 12 to 8. Again, it's the You Matter Beard and Mustache Competition presented to you by Honest Amish. Then we go into January 29th is Beards by the Bay presenting West Coast Beard and Mustache Championships. This is all the way out in California. I say all the way out. Those of you who live in California, you're like, that's just down the road from me. But that's true. Beard and Mustache, the West Coast Beard and Mustache Championships in Mill Valley, California, January 29th. Then we move into February. We talked about this now earlier when we talked about merch. LSV5, the return to North Texas. Friday, they have a meet and greet at the River Bottom Pub. On the 26th, they have live music and a beard competition. It is in Fort Worth. The LSV5 return to North Texas, February 25th to the 27th. I will be there. That is my plan. I will be there. February 25th to the 27th. For LSV5 in Fort Worth, Texas. Then moving on, March 4th through the 6th, we talked about it earlier, Nash Vegas. In Nashville, Tennessee, there's a meet and greet on the 4th. The game terminal, they have a beard competition, all sorts of other good stuff during the weekend. Nash Vegas, March 4th through the 6th. Any questions, reach out to a BVTN member, and they'll get you set straight. April 1st, I'm talking right. April 1st through the 3rd, DSV6 in San Antonio, Texas. Still waiting for some details on that. BV South Texas is due to be your host in San Antonio, DSV6, April 1st through the 3rd. One of my brothers here, my co-captain Ed, has been pointing out to me that flights from where we are to San Antonio do not look promising in price. So I'm not sure unless that changes, if I'll be there. Then in May 6th through the 8th, Beardo de Mayo with a meet and greet. Now, Beardo de Mayo is hosted by our Ohio brothers. And we've been asking for some details on this, and we finally have them. So, Beardo de Mayo, they have a meet and greet on the 6th and a beard competition on the 7th at Crafted Culture Brewery. They are raising money with this event for the Huckleberry House. Beardo de Mayo, May 6th through the 8th. Then we also have the West Coast meet, June 10th through the 12th. June 10th through the 12th. West Coast meet in Seattle, Washington, hosted by the West Washington and East Washington Bearded Villain Brothers. Again, the West Coast meet June 10th through the 12th. That's going to be the timeliness of it. All right, guys. I did want to bring up, because I love it when she says this kind of stuff, Jess. I absolutely love and believe in BV and will always tell people we love you for it, Jess. That and so much more. So thank you for always being there for us. Thank you for always being here for the podcast. It's awesome. It's awesome. Mars, hey, BP, how about a British accent for us? How about no? How about no? But thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. BP has been tongue-tied all night. I have not. There's been a few spots, but not terrible. I think I know what's really in the cup, and it ain't water. No, it's not water. It's, you can see in the picture here, it's pink. And it is the zero sugar pink lemonade Mountain Dew, which is actually pretty good. So that's what I'm That's what I'm drinking tonight. So, nanny, nanny, boo boo, you're wrong. It's not what you think it is. All right, guys. Well, it's that time. It's that time. You guys have been awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here live with me. Again, I want to say if you are looking for any of the good stuff, the patches, pins, poker chips, shirts that we'll pre-order for you, all that good stuff, just reach out to me, theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. That's also where you're going to listen to all previous 117. I said that. That's right. 117 episodes. That's where you're going to find them. All right, guys, it's that time. That's going to wrap up episode 118 of The Heart of a Villain. Guys, I want to challenge you, as I always do, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Guys, the most important words I say every day that we have this podcast, please remember, it's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. So, guys, this is BP signing off. Have a great weekend. Have a great tomorrow night. Have a great weekend. Have a great week ahead. Don't forget to brainstorm. Think about some of these things that we can do. I will see you back here next week for episode 119 of The Heart of a Villain. Thanks for being here, guys. Take care. Stay safe.
From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain. It's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go